Mark III Power Armour. Iron Armour. The Lesser Bifold Cluster. Carolus System. 52nd Expeditionary Crusade Force. Finally. We have disabled one of their ships. Finally. They were loitering around again, playing games of cloak and dagger. The Diasporax. We have no idea what they are up to, why they are here, and why they do not flee. Their ships are well led, very. They run rings around our own captains, and it has been thus for weeks now. A constant attempt to bring them to battle. Whenever we think we have them, they outmaneuver us and slip away. But these Xenos lovers will not get away today. There were 4 of them to our 5. So, for a change it looked, they made straight for us. Yet again, they were not intending to get into real exchange range. They slipped off in an oblique underrun, limiting our firing resolutions to near insignificance. Yet today, today we got lucky. Our forward lance batteries caught one of their cruisers, just as it was about to slip below us on the spatial plane, and its bridge was torn out, a melting scar running across its length, and finally hitting and decommissioning their main engines. So for once, we caught one, and moved in for the kill. Its defenders were hardy and well trained. Even without their captain, who must surely have died on their bridge, they put up stiff resistance. They maneuvered as best they could, preventing much of our shot. But then, that was more a distraction than anything else. We were aiming at their gun batteries, to knock out as many as possible without breaking them apart entirely. Our next step was simple. We launched boarding pods, one of which I stand in now, restraints placed so my warplate cannot move until we hit, until we have cut through their hull armor and burned our way inside. I wait patiently. But it is not as it usually is. For today, due to the scenario, I am not wearing my usual suit of warplate. I stand in Mark III armor, not my usual Mark II. Oh, this suit is a newer, barely worn, but it is not what one would expect. For it is heavy, it reduces my enhanced agility and speed, yet it is the best protection I have ever worn. Many breacher squads are prepared. They will go in the first wave, and we in Wave 2 will be in these Mark III suits. It is how this is done. For the Diasporax ships are not crewed exclusively with humans. No. These scum have made common cause with filthy Xenos, aliens, pretending to be allies, but secretly waiting to betray and burn these humans the moment it is convenient. We of the Crusade, we know. We have seen the perfidy of these beings countless times. Yet, they will make powerful enemies in the close quarters fighting that is about to ensue. We hit. The shuddering of the boarding pod tells me that we are nearly through. We slow only a tad before hitting. The jarring of this strike would kill a normal man, warplate or not. Yet to us, it is nothing but another drop. Not even bruised. I hear the restraints burst off us, and the door opens, and we are in their ship. Boarding pods have struck all across this side of the vessel. We can hear bolter fire ringing around the corridors, close or distant, but always constant. Me and my squad, we move forward in 2x2 covering formation, and soon we are rewarded with our first catch of the day. A group of Diasporax had set up a hard point that covers 3 corridors. Thus we are unable to flank or force them to retreat. we must face them head on, and they are set up. Yet, as we do exactly that, our armour marks do the job. We charge down the corridor, firing our bolters with deadly effect. My brother Marine in front of me makes it halfway before he falls forward and skids to a slow stop from the sheer weight of fire coming in. Blood pouring from 100 small wounds. He is gone, but he will be avenged. I hunker and charge as fast as I can, moving erratically, bouncing from one foot to the other instead of rolling. This warplate is not nimble, so it is basic evasion I employ. Yet it works, and many shots fly past me. Some of my brothers behind will be hit, but with this armour, 1 or 2 hits is not enough, not nearly enough. And I can see the effect it has on the enemy as I move closer. For the eyes on these humans widen, becoming more desperate with every pace I take, while their blind quadrupedal alien allies attempt to make a wall in front of them. I prevent this by barreling into the first of these beings, knocking it back and off its feet, sending it careening into the main shooters behind. The traitor humans are withdrawing, but they will not get far. I shoot the Xenos I knocked down, its head exploding under my bolter shot. The next one I bring my bolter butt into the side of its head again. The armour and tech smash as I hear a sickening crunch as its neck snaps under my efforts. It stumps against the wall and its armour screams while it slides down said wall. My brothers are in as well. Straight behind me, they are already bringing down these Xenos to my left and right. I am as quick on my feet as I can in this armour, but it is nothing to charge after the fleeing traitors. I catch them in only 40 strides, and my bolter knocks half of them over before I even catch up to them. I finish arresting close. My elbows, gauntleted fists, crushing bones, smashing sinew. I take out all of my pent-up rage of being denied for so many days, and within half an hour, we have cleared the ship. The only ones remaining are in the custody of those who will question them about their fleet, their formation. Why are they here? They do not wish to fight so much as clear. So why are they still here? The situation is resolved in the Black Library book Fulgrim from Horus Heresy. Welcome, gentle listener, I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the factions, faces, and war gear of the Warhammer 40k setting, the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. A reminder that we have other avenues for entertainment, links in the description. Give us a like and a share if you enjoyed the video, and to support our ongoing efforts against boredom, do consider joining our Patreon or just chucking over a super like. Now, let us proceed. For today, we shall be discussing one of the most rugged forms of power armour, the Mark III, nicknamed the Iron Armour, and it certainly lives up to its name. It is not just the effects of the armour, its increased durability, that marks this set of warplate out as special, for it also has a bearing that lends to a sense of dread. For there are few silhouettes more striking than this, one of the marks that has always terrified the locals, so to put it. And so, as usual, for the very basics, let us lean on existing wisdom. To quote: Mark III Iron Armour. This model of power armour dates from the wars of the Great Crusade, when Astartes' legions were forced into deadly boarding actions and tunnel combat. This armour was ideal when cover was minimal and combat was a matter of frontal assault. The most visually brutal and imposing of all the widely produced armour marks, the Iron Armour was a heavy, modified Mark II design, itself the first mass-produced power armour of the Crusade era. The Iron Armour structure has augmented frontal defence and incorporates additional ablative plates, and is intended foremost for use in boarding actions, tunnel assaults, and void warfare, although it is considered heavier and more power-hungry than its contemporaries. The new helmet design is a heavily armoured model with sloping plates designed to deflect shots to the left and right, and inspire the Mark IV and Mark VI helmet designs. The Mark III was never intended to replace the previous suits, but to act as an optional set, specialized for situations where heavier frontal protection would be advantageous, such as in the close confines of spacecraft and mining complexes. Because of this, no Legion was ever fully equipped with the Mark III. While successful in the conditions it was designed for, the armor is too clumsy and uncomfortable for conventional fighting. Nonetheless, it became widespread in some legions, such as the Imperial Fists and Death Guard. Meanwhile, the Dark Angels and Space Wolves also favored the design, perhaps due to its more bellicose nature. The Mark III is sometimes worn by ceremonial guards due to its visual brutality, and can also still be found used in close-quarters situations by various Space Marine chapters. It is commonly called the Iron Suit, or Armorum Ferrum, in recognition of its great strength. End quote. The Mark III has had some history alterations of late, for in their earlier iterations and write-ups, it was the requirement to siege squat fortifications that led to the need for increased armor front-facing. In the earlier lore, the squats put up such a fight in their corridors and crags that they battered and bruised any force, even Astartes, that came at their fortifications. The death toll was so excruciatingly high that a new set of armor was devised to counter their heavy firepower and armor-piercing close-quarters weaponry. The Mark III, as stated, is a derivative of the Mark II, and it is a testament to the technological skill of the Crusade period Mechanicum, who would then go on to become the Adeptus Mechanicus, that they were able to adopt and modify so swiftly. For the Mark II armors were mostly made on Mars and the other Forge worlds that the Crusade brought back into compliance, a dainty way of stating that they either bent the knee or were crushed. But the speed of modification is something that would now astound the present-day tech priests of Mars. They have become even more dogmatic, more timid, and far more punishing and wide in their description of what they now consider tech heresy. In the period before the return of the Primarch, such concepts as modifying or repurposing would have gained whoever proposed them a swift trip to the pyre. To be burnt, of course. For innovation is danger. Creation is to be punished. Only the purity of that which was, that invented by the forebears of the current humanity, can even be considered. Something I really must address soon, the Mechanicus and its ways. Sorry. But even so, in brief, the armour was made with alacrity, and then sent out to the legions for the heaviest fighting, the most dangerous of battle circumstances. And it is a testament to the mystique of the armour and its providence that has meant that any chapters of Marines that still have them treat them almost as important as tactical dreadnought suits, better known as Terminator armour. The Mark III may not have the acclaim or flexibility or even utility of the Mark II, but it is a stepping stone to other forms and patterns that we shall explore as the days go by. And I have to admit, the brutal lines, the intimidating mask, and increased durability make this version of Warplate the one I want for many of my Astartes in my growing Horus Heresy army. They just declare their intent by their simple outline. A savage set of armour for a savage stage of the Crusade. Thank you for your precious time. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.